If you asked me last Christmas what the worst part of the holiday was, I'd have said the dry turkey, the noise, or maybe my mother's passive-aggressive humming while pretending everything was fine. But I was wrong. The worst part of Christmas wasn't any of that. The worst part was when my little girl opened a gift box, froze in place and whispered, "Mommy, I'm scared." 5 minutes later, I was calling the police, and my life was never the same again. We were at my parents' house in Cincinnati, Ohio. The same house I grew up in. The same creaky old floorboards that groaned like they were tired of holding us up. The same cinnamon-scented potpourri my mom insisted on leaving out. And of course, the same habit of avoiding anything real. The living room was packed. Kids everywhere tearing through wrapping paper. Adults trying to talk over each other. Laughter that sounded just a little too forced, the kind of laugh you hear when people are performing happiness instead of feeling it. In my family, Christmas is an exhausting production. Every adult buys a gift for every child, and sometimes even the kids exchange presents with each other. Wrapping paper flies across the room, tags get lost, people forget who gave what. It's chaos, but it's tradition. That day, my 8-year-old daughter, Lila, had a mountain of presents by her side. For the first time in months, I saw her genuinely happy. She was glowing, smiling, carefully opening each gift one at a time. Not like other kids who rip through the paper. No, Lila liked to savor the moment. I let myself breathe for the first time in weeks. I thought maybe, just maybe, we could survive this holiday without breaking. But then Lila picked up one particular box. Medium-sized. Wrapped in shiny red foil. She peeled back the tape slowly, carefully. She opened the lid. And then she froze. Her expression shifted so fast I almost thought I imagined it. Her shoulders tensed. Her smile disappeared. Her little body went stiff like she was made of stone. Felt it too. That drop in your stomach. The one that warns you you're about to learn something you can never unlearn. Lila looked up at me, eyes wide with fear. She didn't say anything at first. She just stood up slowly, still holding the open box, like she was afraid the wrong move would make it explode. She walked straight toward me. Her face was pale. She reached for my hand, her tiny fingers trembling, and whispered, "Mommy, I'm scared. Just look. Don't say it." I took the box from her and glanced inside. First, I saw nothing wrong. It was a toy. Ordinary. Harmless. But then I noticed something. A detail so small most people wouldn't even see it. But I saw it. And the second I did, my whole body locked up. The noise of the house disappeared. The smell of baked ham, the twinkling lights, the chatter. It all faded into silence. I looked up. My dad was laughing, holding one of those cheap paper crowns over his head. My mom was fussing over the table settings like they were fragile explosives. My sister, Rachel, was waving a wine glass while gossiping with an aunt. Kids were on the floor comparing toys. Everything seemed normal. But it wasn't. Not anymore. I forced a smile and said softly, "Come on, honey, let's get some air." Someone behind me asked, "Everything okay?" I smiled again, pretending like my heart wasn't crawling out of my chest. "She's not feeling great. We'll just be outside for a moment." I took the box and we walked out together. Lila climbed into the back seat of my car and curled up, knees to her chest. I sat in the front, holding the box in my lap. My hands were shaking. My chest was burning. I was holding something small, but it felt heavier than the world. Tears stung my eyes before I even realized I was crying. I knew deep down without question that nothing about this Christmas or this life would ever be the same again. 2 minutes later, I called the police. When the officer finally arrived, their cruiser pulled up quietly, like this was just another neighborhood call about a barking dog. Meanwhile, Lila and I were still in the car. The box sat between us like it was alive. Her little face was turned away, pressed against her knees. I stepped out and met the officer halfway up the driveway, clutching the toy like evidence. I wanted so badly for it to be a mistake. I wanted them to tell me it was just some random toy, that I was wrong, that it wasn't what I thought it was. But I wasn't wrong. When they checked the wrapping paper, they found a tag inside. The name on it, Chloe, my niece. Rachel's daughter. The officer went inside with me. The whole room froze as soon as they stepped through the door. Laughter died. Wrapping paper rustled underfoot. My dad's grin slipped. My mom froze mid-gesture. Everyone knew something was wrong. They asked to speak with Rachel and Chloe. They moved into the den for privacy. Rachel didn't resist. She stayed calm, too calm. Chloe explained she found the toy in their house and thought it would make a nice present. She said she wrapped it herself. Rachel smiled through it all like she'd been rehearsing. We have toys everywhere, she said. Could have come from anywhere. But I knew better. Because that toy didn't come from anywhere. It belonged to my missing son, my boy who had disappeared 6 months earlier. The police didn't stay long that night. They took the toy with them, asked Rachel and Chloe some quick questions, and promised they'd follow up. But the party never recovered. An hour passed, maybe more, but I didn't move. I sat at my parents' kitchen table with my hands in my lap, staring at the floor. My husband, Mark, leaned against the counter, his arms crossed, face pale and tight. Neither of us had touched a thing since the officers left. That was his toy, I finally whispered. Mark didn't answer. He didn't need to. We both knew the truth. The crack on the wing, the marker stain, the little scratch on the side. It wasn't just any toy. It was the one our son had with him on the day he disappeared. That meant something horrifying. It meant he might still be alive. To understand the weight of that moment, you need to know how we got here. I'm the oldest daughter in my family. That fact alone explains more than half the story. Rachel is 5 years younger than me. From the moment she could walk, she was the favorite. Me? I was the responsible one, the reliable one, the one who cleaned up after everyone else's messes. Rachel, she was the spark, the firework, beautiful, reckless, loud. And our parents, well, they adored her. She broke the rules. She charmed her way out of consequences. She made scenes at school, at stores, at family gatherings, and people laughed, called her spirited. Meanwhile, I did everything right. Straight A's. No trouble. I held things together so tight you could hear the strain. But responsibility doesn't get applause. It gets silence. Expectations. Pressure. By the time we were teens, the pattern was set. Rachel caused chaos. I cleaned it up. No one spoke of it. Years later, she got married and had 3 kids in quick succession. Everyone said she was finally growing up. She wasn't. She still made reckless choices, spent money she didn't have, lived like consequences were optional. She'd text me late at night. Can you help? Just this once. It's for the kids. And for a while I did. Until I realized it wasn't for diapers or groceries. It was for delivery apps, online shopping, spa days. I drew the line. I told her, you have a husband, Rachel. I have a family too. I'm not made of money. She sulked, but eventually the asking slowed down. By then, my own life had already changed. I met Mark when I was 29. He already had a little boy, Ethan, just over a year old. His ex, Dana, had left when Ethan was only 10 months. No big fight, no custody battle. She just signed the papers and vanished. Ethan was quiet at first, cautious, watchful. But he was sweet. So sweet. And I loved him instantly. He started calling me Mom before his 2nd birthday. I didn't correct him. 2.5 years later, I gave birth to Lila. She came into a house already full of love. She and Ethan were inseparable from the start. Not half anything. Just brother and sister. We were a family. Solid. Happy. Until 6 months ago. It was a normal day. Lunchtime at Ethan's school. He told his teacher he'd forgotten something in his backpack. He left the cafeteria. He never came back. No one saw him leave. No one saw who he left with. There were no cameras near that part of the building. No note. No sound. He was just gone. The police got involved immediately. They searched everywhere. They found only his backpack, tossed behind a hedge a few blocks from the school. No ransom note. No suspicious phone calls. No trace. We stopped sleeping. Mark stopped talking. Lila woke up crying in the middle of the night, calling for her brother. Days blurred into weeks. The silence was unbearable. Every knock on the door, every unknown number on my phone, it all felt like it could be him. And then it wasn't. After a while, I stopped waiting for updates. I started preparing for silence. We promised ourselves we'd get through Christmas. We'd fake it for Lila's sake. Smile. Show up. Survive. That was the plan. Until she opened that box. Now here we were. In my parents' house. Surrounded by the wreckage of wrapping paper and forced smiles. Rachel was sitting alone in the sunroom, scrolling on her phone like nothing had happened. Mark and I stepped in. She looked up. Her smile flickered. Hey, she said. Everything settled now? Mark didn't answer. He hadn't spoken since the police left. I did. We need to talk. Now. Her face twitched. About what? That toy? The one Chloe gave Lila? I already told the police. Chloe found it in the house. Probably something someone left years ago. Mark's voice finally broke through, low and sharp. He had that toy with him when he disappeared. Rachel blinked. You can't be sure. We are sure, I said. Lila remembers. I remember. Mark remembers. And Ethan never came to your house. Not once. So how did his toy end up here? She laughed, but it was hollow, shaky. I don't know. Maybe someone brought it over. Maybe he visited once and you forgot. Mark's jaw tightened. We didn't forget. Her smile faded. Why are you doing this? You're making it bigger than it is. Because the police will come back, I said, stepping closer. They'll trace where that toy came from. And when they do, you won't get to explain it to us first. So start talking. Right now. Her face went pale. Her eyes darted between me and Mark. She looked down, bit her lip. Please, she whispered. Don't tell them. Then tell us, I said. Now. Her eyes filled with tears, but she held them back. She nodded once, slow. It wasn't me, she said. Her voice cracked. It was Dana, Ethan's mom. She called me months ago. Said she just wanted to see him. Just one visit. She said she missed him so much. My chest clenched. Rachel went on. She offered me money. I didn't ask for it, she just offered. And I needed it. You said you wouldn't help me anymore, remember? I was behind on bills. I thought it wouldn't be a big deal. Mark's fists clenched, knuckles white. He still didn't speak. Rachel's words came faster now, desperate. She promised it would just be 1 hour. I told her when Ethan had lunch. She swore she'd bring him back. Her lips trembled. She didn't. She disappeared. I called her, no answer. I panicked. I thought maybe she'd bring him back the next day. Then the day after. And then I stopped calling. Her voice finally broke into sobs. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Please. I have 3 kids. I didn't want to ruin everything. I felt the air leave my lungs. My knees nearly buckled. You let us believe he was dead, I whispered. Mark turned his head. His voice was rough, jagged. We buried him in our minds every night for 6 months. Rachel sobbed harder. I didn't know what else to do. I thought it but didn't say it out loud. You could have told the truth. We walked out without another word. Rachel's crying followed us down the hall. Not the loud fake crying she used to pull when she wanted out of trouble. No, this was real. Raw. Broken. But I didn't feel sorry for her. Not even a little. Mark didn't speak as he opened the car door. He just stared out the windshield, silent, like he was trying to figure out how the world could still look the same when everything inside us was destroyed. We drove straight to the police station. We told them everything. The phone call. The money. The secret meeting. The silence Rachel had kept for 6 long months while we grieved a child who might still be alive. The officer took notes. His voice was calm, professional. Thank you. We'll handle it from here. But nothing about this felt handled. Because Rachel hadn't just betrayed us. She had traded my son's life for a handful of cash. And I wasn't sure I'd ever forgive her. The next morning, the police showed up at Rachel's house. They didn't knock gently. They didn't treat her like the golden child my parents had always protected. They treated her like what she was, a woman who had endangered a child. They arrested her. The charges were obstruction of justice and reckless endangerment of a minor. The detective said more charges might come later, depending on what they uncovered. When the news reached me, I didn't feel relief. I didn't feel triumph. I felt nothing. Just empty. Rachel called me from the holding cell that night. I didn't answer. Rachel called me from the holding cell that night. I didn't answer. Mark didn't even glance at the phone when it lit up with her name. He just kept staring at the wall, his jaw set, his body tense like a man trying not to shatter into pieces. The house was silent. We didn't play music. We didn't finish putting away the Christmas decorations. We just existed, drifting through the rooms like ghosts. Lila asked me if we should take down the tree. Not yet, I told her softly. She didn't press. The silence was worse than anything. I'd sit at the window with coffee that went cold in my hands, watching the street like maybe Ethan would just walk down it one day. Mark would stand in the hallway, still as a statue, like he was waiting for someone to open the front door. Every noise outside, every car that passed made us flinch. And then the phone rang. I picked it up without thinking. "Mom," I said automatically. Her voice was sharp. "How could you do this to your sister?" For a moment, I couldn't even process the words. "Excuse me. You called the police on your own family," she snapped. "You humiliated her. You destroyed everything." My mouth went dry. "Mom, she arranged a secret meeting with Ethan's biological mother. She let him go. And she didn't tell us for 6 months. She made a mistake," my mom said flatly. "She just wanted to help. And anyway, it's not like Ethan is really yours. He has a mother. Maybe that's where he belongs." The words punched me in the chest. I didn't argue. I didn't scream. I just stared at the wall in front of me, every muscle in my body frozen. Then I hung up. Mark walked in a moment later. He saw the look on my face but didn't ask what she said. Maybe he already knew. 3 days later, the phone rang again. This time, Mark answered. He didn't speak. He just held the phone out to me like it was a bomb about to explode. I pressed it to my ear. "Mrs. Carter," the voice said. "Yes. This is Detective Harris. We found her. Ethan's biological mother. She's been living under a false name in Arkansas." My heart stopped. My breath caught in my throat. "Is he?" "He's alive," the detective said. "We have him." My knees gave out. I dropped onto the couch like gravity had finally claimed me. Alive. My boy was alive. The police arranged a video call before we could travel. "It'll be easier on him this way," they said. "He needs to see you before we move him." I didn't care how. I just needed to see his face. At the precinct, they set us up in a small room with a laptop. Mark sat beside me, stiff as stone. His hands clenched together, his jaw locked. I think part of him still didn't believe it. The screen flickered. Then there he was. Ethan. He looked older, thinner, paler. His hair was longer, messy. He wasn't smiling. But it was him. Forgot how to breathe. "Hey, sweetheart," I managed, my voice cracking. He stared at us. His eyes were cautious, guarded. "She told me." His voice was soft, almost a whisper. "She told me you didn't want me anymore. That you told her to come get me." Something inside me splintered. "That's not true," I said firmly. "We never stopped looking for you. Not once." Mark leaned forward, his voice steady but fragile. "You're ours. Always." Ethan looked down, rubbed at his sleeve. Then he looked back at us. "I didn't believe her at first," he whispered. "But she kept saying it. Over and over. I didn't know what to think." "You know now," I told him. "You know the truth." He nodded just once. The screen froze for a second. A voice in the background said the call had to end soon. "We're coming to get you," Mark said quickly. Ethan didn't smile, but the fear in his eyes was softer. "Okay," he said. "I'll be here." That night, after the call, I sat in the dark while the Christmas lights blinked faintly in the corner. I didn't cry until everyone else was asleep. Not loud, not messy. Just silent tears that poured out, like a storm breaking after months of drought. Ethan was alive, and he was coming home. The day finally came. A Thursday. The train station was crowded, the air cold, our breaths fogging as we waited behind the yellow line. When I saw him step off the train, escorted by a caseworker with a duffel bag slung over his shoulder, my chest nearly caved in. He hesitated when he spotted us. Me, Mark, Lila, like he wasn't sure it was real. But Lila didn't hesitate. She ran straight to him. "Ethan!" she cried, throwing her arms around him. He dropped the bag instantly and hugged her back, so tight, like she was air and he'd been drowning. I walked slower. My legs felt like they were moving through water. I knelt in front of him. "Hi, sweetheart." He nodded. Then, without another word, he stepped forward and buried his face in my coat. That was the moment we got him back. The weeks after weren't easy. Ethan barely spoke. He flinched when doors opened too quickly. He slept with the light on. But he was home. And that was enough. Lila stuck to him like glue. She followed him around the house, shared her toys, colored next to him on the floor. She acted like if she blinked, he might disappear again. Maybe she was right. We got him into therapy. Slow steps. No pressure. Just safety. Just presents. One night, I walked past his room and found him and Lila sitting on the floor, coloring quietly. He looked up at me and said, "Can we get pizza tomorrow?" It was the first full sentence we'd heard in days. I nodded, tears burning my eyes. Of course, baby. Progress. Meanwhile, Rachel faced her consequences. She was charged with reckless endangerment, obstruction, and accessory to custodial interference. She took a plea deal: 18 months in county jail, 3 years probation, and a permanent restriction from working with children. She cried in court, claimed she never meant for any of it to happen, claimed she was just trying to help Ethan's biological mother reconnect. The judge didn't buy it. Neither did we. Rachel wrote me a letter. I didn't read it. Mark burned it. As for Dana, Ethan's biological mother, she was extradited from Arkansas. She pled guilty to custodial interference and child endangerment. In exchange for a psychiatric evaluation, they dropped the fraud charges. She was sentenced to 4 years in prison and banned from contacting Ethan ever again. In court, she said, "I wasn't trying to hurt him. I just missed him. I wanted to fix something I broke." No one clapped. No one sympathized. My parents didn't take it well. They insisted Rachel didn't deserve jail. They called her confused. And my mother, God help her, looked me dead in the eye and said, "He's not even really yours. Rachel is your sister. Family is family." I stared at her for a long time. Then I said, "So are you." And I blocked their number. I haven't looked back. Ethan never asked about Rachel. He never asked about Dana. He only asked if we'd still be here in the morning. Every time I said yes. And every time I meant it. The tree eventually came down. The lights were packed away. Life didn't return to normal, but something new began. Something stronger, something unshakable. Family isn't who shares your blood. It's who stays, who fights, who never lets go no matter what. And when Ethan finally whispered, "I knew you'd find me," I realized he was right. Because we already had.